Hello everybody, today I want to make another video so I can practice talking again. Today I want to tell you about a few things I've learned about getting out of debt and staying out of debt. First, I've learned a few things from a guy named Dave Ramsey who has a radio program about money. A few things I've learned is that he claims you should have a $1,000 emergency fund. I don't know why he says $1,000 instead of $2,000 or $3,000 or any amount, but let's suppose you want to keep $1,000 in a bank account and then spend absolutely everything else that you have on all your debt. Trying to pay off your debt as soon as possible and not just make the minimum payments. There's also The second step would be list all your debts from largest to smallest, or from smallest to largest. He says except your house. I don't know why he wouldn't want to include your house. I live in an apartment, so I don't have a mortgage. Now, Dave Ramsey says start paying your minimum, the smallest debt first. Some people might say pay the debt with the highest interest rate first. But the principle is the same either way. I think you would list all your debts, smallest to biggest. Start with the smallest debt. You're gonna keep making minimum payments on all of your debts. Like suppose you have one or more credit card payments and car loan and student loans and mortgage and whatever other debts you might have. Whichever one is the lowest amount, you're going to make minimum payments on all those loans, except that the one that's the smallest amount, you're going to make more than the minimum payment. And in order to make more than the minimum payment, maybe you're going to be really cheap. Maybe you're going to find a way to make more money. Maybe you'll take a second job. I don't have a second job right now. I haven't decided whether I'm going to take a second job or not. So maybe suppose your lowest debt has a minimum payment of $25 a month. Now suppose that you can be really cheap and pay an extra $100 on this debt. So now instead of paying $25 a month on this debt, you're going to pay $125 in this debt. So every month you're going to make the minimum payment on all your loans except for the smallest one, which you're going to make the minimum plus an extra $100 a month, or whatever amount. If you can afford the $125 a month, then pay $125 a month. So let's suppose that the minimum payment was $50 and you're gonna manage to be really cheap and pay an extra $100 a month on this loan. Then you're gonna be paying $150 a month on this loan. When that's paid off, then you're gonna keep spending $150 a month, but now you're gonna spend an extra $150 a month on your on the new lowest debt that you have, or the second lowest, the next debt in your list. So let's suppose that the minimum payment on this debt was $100 a month. Now you're going to be paying, if you were paying $150 a month on the first debt, now that that's gone, now you could, and this new debt has a minimum payment of $100. Now you're going to pay $250 a month on this debt. You're going to keep paying $250 on this new debt with that's the lowest amount, while making the minimum payments on the other debts. When this debt is paid off, now you're going to keep making $250 extra a month, only you're going to apply that $250 a month to the next debt. So if the next debt had a minimum payment of $150 a month, instead of paying $150 a month on that debt, now you're going to pay $150 a month plus $250 plus the $250 a month that you were paying, and that's going to help you to get out of debt quickly, or that's supposed to help you get out of debt quickly. Another thing is Dave Ramsey has this theory that if you go to the grocery store and only take a certain amount of cash with you and you don't use a credit card, or if you can't use a credit card, then over a period of a certain number of weeks, you'll end up spending less money. Even if you use credit cards and pay the bill at the end of the month so that you don't get any interest. I don't know if this is always true for everybody. I don't understand this intuitively, but another thing is Dave Ramsey does suggest that at some point you put money aside for your kids' college education. I don't agree that it's a good idea to pay for your kids' college education. Not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody needs to go to college. Some people go to college and flunk out all their classes. Some people go to college and waste their parents' money on alcohol and drugs. Some people waste a lot of money going to college. For some people, going to college is a bizarre waste of time. If your kids really want to go to college, they should have to pay for it themselves to show that they really care about it. If you pay for it yourself, you're more likely to pass your classes. And also, a lot of times, college is not a good financial investment. It doesn't teach you a specific job. Car loans are something that a lot of people have. One thing Dave Ramsey suggests is buy a used car. If you don't have much money, you want to have as little debt as possible, could buy a used car and hopefully spend as little money fixing it as possible. I don't have a retirement account right now. The last thing I want to say is something about retirement accounts. I have $31,714 worth of student loan debt left because I made bad choices in college and took too many classes that I didn't need to take. I really financially screwed up a lot. Now suppose that I would open up an individual retirement account now. Suppose I put $100 into an IRA. I could have used that money to put toward the principal of my student loan debt by paying on extra on my debts. I could avoid paying a certain amount of interest. If I put a certain amount of money in a retirement account, by not using that money to pay on my loans, I'm going to cause myself to pay more interest on my loans, and that extra interest that I'm going to end up paying on my loans is like the cost of setting up the retirement account. So it mathematically does not make sense for me to put money into an individual retirement account while having debt. And my company does not give a 401k, and if they did, then they'd pay me less, and then I would barely have enough money to live properly. So I hope you learned something about getting out of debt.